Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Sada Shiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Parampara. Today we begin a new text. It is a small text, Hastamlaka Stotram or Hastamlakiyam also is called as Hastamlaka Stotram. You may have heard the name. There is a small story behind the composition of this stotra. Hastamlaka was actually one of the 4 most important disciples of Adi Shankara. Disciples, there were 4 of them: Sureshwaracharya, Padmapadacharya, Totakacharya, and Hastamlaka. So when Adi Shankaracharya established 4 matha in 4 directions, north, south, east, and west, he appointed these 4 disciples as the Acharya there, or Mathadish. Sureshwaracharya was the Mathadish in Sringeri Math in the south. Hastamlaka was the Acharya in the Dwarka Math in the west. Padmapadacharya was the Acharya in the Puri Math in the east. And in the north, the Joshi Math was Totakacharya. He was appointed there. So these are the 4 important renowned disciples of Adi Shankara. Now here the story is about this Hastamlaka, and this composition is also of Hastamlaka as reported by Adi Shankara. There is a story behind this Hastamlaka Stotra. First, about this Mahatmaji. One Mahatmaji, he was a Siddha Purush. He lived on the banks of a river. One day a lady came with a child and told his Mahatmaji to look after the baby, looked after the child, while she took bath in the river. And she went to the river, leaving the child with the Mahatmaji there. But this Mahatmaji, after some time, went into Samadhi. Meanwhile, the child crawled and fell into the river and died. And then the dead body of that child came floating right into the arms of his mother where she was bathing. She got a shock. She came out of the river with the baby, the child, and came to the Mahatmaji. And she was, of course, weeping loudly. When the Mahatmaji heard the sound, he came out of his Samadhi and then saw what happened. So out of his compassion, he discarded his body, came out of his body, dropped his body, and entered in that child's body. So this Siddha Purush, the realized master, now this child, the jiva in that child that was there earlier, that jiva went away in his pursuit. Now this Siddha Mahatma, a realized master, entered that child's body. So that child was no ordinary child now. And his behavior also such. At the age when children start talking, he didn't speak at all. He didn't listen to anyone. He didn't behave like other children, playing around or even laughing or crying like other children. He didn't speak at all. He didn't even ask for food. If the food was given, he'll take it. And if it was not given, he'll not ask for it. So he was like that, beyond, so to say, not dictated by hunger and thirst. If it is there, if it is given, he'll have it. If it is not given, he'll not have it. It didn't matter to him. And then the parents were worried when the time comes to give the Yajnopavit Sanskara. So they were thinking that how to give this child Yajnopavit Sanskara because he is not talking at all, behaving like a deaf mute, doesn't speak. And after giving that, whether he'll chant Gayatri Mantra or not, that doubt was also there. So one day, as Adi Shankaracharya ji was visiting Mugambika temple, this comes in Karnataka. Nearby there is a village, Sribali village. Now, he came to visit that village also, which was near to this Mugambika temple. Then the parents of this child, they heard about this Adi Shankaracharya ji visiting that village. So immediately they thought that let us take his blessings. He is a great Mahatma, Adi Shankaracharya. So maybe he'll be able to bless this child and make him normal. So these parents took that child to Adi Shankaracharya. Until then, this child never spoke a word. As soon as Adi Shankaracharya ji saw this child, he immediately recognized that this is no ordinary child. He is a self-realized soul, great Mahatma. Immediately recognized. And of course, he knew that he is a realized soul. The pure self is very clear to him. His own real self is very clear to him. And as a fruit in the palm, so clear. When a fruit is placed, everybody can see that it's so clearly. So his realization of the self was so clear. So therefore, he was given the name HASTAMALAK. Hasta is the hand, Amlaka is the gooseberry fruit, Amla. So as that Amlaka fruit is very clearly seen on a hand, on the palm, and it is kept, and everybody can see it so clearly. So was his realization. Very clear, no doubt whatsoever. So he was named by Adi Shankaracharya ji. This child was named as HASTAMALAK. Then there was a natural love flowing towards this child, Adi Shankaracharya. And in immense love, Adi Shankaracharya asked him, that is the first shloka. First shloka is the questions put by Adi Shankara. And then the remaining 13 shlokas is the answer given by HASTAMALAK, the child, the boy. Until then, he has not spoken a single word. And the whole stotra comes out. It's beautifully put. So he also, probably, this boy didn't speak because he couldn't come across anyone who could comprehend him, who could understand him. You see? So he couldn't come across anyone. The thing is that if a person has to talk to someone on a particular subject, that person should be able to understand. What is the idea of talking about, say, the complex mathematical problem to an ignorant or an illiterate person? Same thing, what is the grand idea of speaking about the pure self to the ignorant masses? Because that is what he was. He has realized himself to be, and he was at that standpoint, at the absolute standpoint. When he speaks from the absolute standpoint, the ordinary folks will not understand anything. So he kept quiet, and there was nothing for him to talk about, to gossip about what is happening here and what is happening there. He was reveling in his own self, in his infinite bliss, and he has got nothing to do with this world. So therefore, he kept quiet. But when Adi Shankaracharya ji came, he immediately recognized him. Only a master can recognize another master. Only a saint can recognize another saint. Only a guru can recognize another guru. You see? So Adi Shankaracharya ji immediately recognized him. And that is how Adi Shankaracharya ji was able to invoke speech in him. That is how he started talking. So then, first sloka talks about that alone. The first sloka is all about this Adi Shankaracharya's question, and then the subsequent shlokas, Hastamlaka is giving the answer. So this name Hastamlaka is given by Adi Shankaracharya to this child. We do not know what his actual name was. So we'll begin with the first shloka. Acharya Uvacha Kastvam Shishokasya Kutosi Ganta Kim Nama Te Tvam Kuta Agatosi Etan Mayoktam Vadacharvakatvam Matpritaye Priti Vivardhanosi. Acharya Uvacha Kahatvam Shisho Kasya Kutah Asi Ganta Kim Namate Tvam Kuta Agatah Asi Etan Maya Uktam Vada Cha Arbhakatvam Mat Pritaye Priti Vivardhanaha Asi. Now Adi Shankaracharya ji is addressing this child. So, from where have you come? He says, Kahatvam Shishaha. Who are you? Kahatvam. Kasya. Whose son are you? Kasya. Kutaha Asi Gantaha. Where are you going? Kutaha Asi Gantaha. Kim Namate. What is your name? Tvam Kuta Agatah Asi. From where have you come? These are the questions Adi Shankaracharya is asking. Etan Maya Uktam Vada Charbakam, child, whatever I have asked, you please answer. Mat Pritaye, because my love for you is ever increasing. Priti Vivardhanaha Asi, it is ever increasing, my love towards you. So, this is the question that Adi Shankaracharya asked this child. Having recognized him, who he is very well. So now for the benefit of the child's parents and those around him, for their benefit, now Adi Shankara has already recognized him, who is he? He knows very well now. But now for the benefit of the parents of that child and for others around him, so this question was put, and now the child will answer. First time in his life, the parents will hear his voice speaking, and then he is speaking in this language, Sanskrit. He knows very well who is he, because after all, he was that great Mahatma only, but in the child's form. That's all. So, this is an important thing, that in the presence of Mahatma alone, we can recognize, the Mahatma alone can recognize another Mahatma. Whereas among the ignorant masses, most of them, they remain silent in Mauna. Not because they have nothing to say, they have nothing to say anyway. But if they have to say something that the ordinary folks will not understand, they are beyond that, so therefore they keep silence only. They remain silent. Most of the time, Bhagwan Ramana Maharishi also remained silent. Many people used to come to him and ask questions, and many times he will choose not to reply. Sometimes he will reply, not always. So whether the other person will understand or not, whether he is ready for that knowledge or not, otherwise he will remain silent. So now we begin with this Hastamlaka Stotram. Hastamlaka Uvacha, Shlok 2. Hastamlaka Uvacha, Naham Manusho Nacha Deva Yakshau Na Brahmana Kshatriya Vaishya Shudraha Na Brahmachari Na Gruhi Vanastho Bhikshurna Chaham Nijabodha Rupaha Na Aham Manusyaha Na Cha Deva Yakshau Na Brahmana Kshatriya Vaishya Shudraha Na Brahmachari Na Gruhi Vanastaha Bhikshuhu Nacha Aham Nijabodha Rupaha. Now Hastamlaka is saying Na Manushya. Na Manushya means I am not a human, neither man nor woman. So I am not a human. Na Manushya. That means what he is indicating here is that he is not this gross physical body. Na Manushya. Then Na Deva Yakshav. Deva, the different deities, and the Yakshas are all the celestial beings. So they call it demigods also. They are the celestial beings, like this Indra, Varuna, Yama, all these gods and goddesses, all those. So he is neither that also. They are all related to forms. So he is neither that, not this, nor the human, whether man or woman, nor any deities, gods and goddesses, nor any semi-celestial beings, demigods. Then I am na Brahmana Kshatriya Vaishya Shudraha. Now he says that I am neither the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya or Shudra. These do not belong to me. I don't belong to any Varna. So neither human, neither God, nor celestial beings, nor I belong to any Varnas, Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. None of these I belong to. Again, they are related to the body. With the identification of the body, this conditioning comes, conditioning of the Varna, and then followed by conditioning of the gender, conditioning of the forms, different forms, whether human form or forms of gods and goddesses or celestial beings, or the Varnas, Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Then I am not a brahmachari. So now he's talking about the 4 ashramas: brahmacharya ashram, grihastha ashram, vanaprastha ashram, and sannyas ashram. So these ashrams also, according to that, neither brahmachari, nor grihasthi, nor vanaprasthi, nor sannyasi, none of these. Now ashrama, when you talk of this ashrama, asamantat shrama आध्यात्मिक साधन अनुष्ठाने यस्मिन् सह इति आश्रम. So this is asamantat shrama adhyatmik sadhana anusthane yasmin sa iti ashram. So shrama is an effort. So ashrama, where this effort is put. So, ashrama is not for vishrama. Ashram is where you have to put efforts. People think of going to an ashram and have vishram there. No. Ashram is for efforts. Shrama. And do the shrama. Come and do the shrama. So this effort. So this ashrama, of course, refers to different stages of life, as is referred here, brahmacharya, grihastha, vanaprastha, and sannyasi. So this is for at different stages of life, a person has to practice the adhyatmic sadhana, the spiritual practices, and that is for moksha. Though shrama is required for dharma, artha, kama also, but this shrama is only for moksha. So it is only meant for moksha. So in the brahmacharya ashram, there are different ways it is spoken about. Brahmachari Brahmani Veda Charati. So Brahmachari is Brahmani Veda Charati also, or Brahma Vishaye, or Brahma Nimittam Charati. So Brahmani Veda Charati, or Brahma Vishaya Charati, or Brahma Nimittam Charati. Or it is also Brahmachari is also called as Brahmam Acharati iti Brahmachari. Brahmachari. So it is a lifestyle that is prescribed by the Vedas to reach Brahmatva. That is Brahmacharya. So now here Hastamalaka says, I am not a Brahmachari. I don't belong to these ashrams also. He earlier said that his varnas do not belong to him. He doesn't belong to any varna. So now he says that he does not belong to any ashram also. He is Ati Varna Ashrami. So he is not a Brahmachari. He is Sakshat Brahman itself. So there is no question of being a Brahmachari. So he is not a Brahmachari. Nor he is a Grihastha. Grihasthas are those who take the responsibility of a household, and of course for a Grihastha some attachment is there. Attachment to his wife and children and house and property and everything, that attachment is there for the Grihastha. So he is neither a Grihastha nor a Vanaprasthi. He is not the one who dwells in the forest. As Sakshat Brahman, as the pure self, he is a substratum of everything. Where is the question of he dwelling in the forest? So he is neither a Vanaprasthi also. He is not even a sannyasi. As per the Vedic injunctions, a sannyasi is ordered to take bhiksha, and he is not supposed to use fire for cooking. So therefore he is allowed to take bhiksha, because he is not supposed to use fire for cooking. He can take bhiksha. So now this Hastamalaka says that he is not even a sannyasi. So none of these. So now here an important factor is going on telling all these things, that he is none of these, not this or that. Now distinctions like man or woman, being a human, or animal, man or woman, or gods and goddesses, or demigods, or celestial beings, or this Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, the Varnas, or the ashramas, Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyasi, they are all based on gross body, gross physical form. Whether it is Deva's form, Avatar Purusha's form, there are all forms. One name and form is there. It is all based on that. So it is only gross body identification. These distinctions will come only for whom? It will come to the one who is identified with the gross body. Such a one only it will come. And this identification with the gross body is born out of ignorance. And that breeds all kinds of distinctions. Then there is racial distinction, then human distinction, man and woman, animals, then the Varna distinctions, then black, white, brown, yellow, racial distinctions, and so on, it goes on. So all this distinction is because of this ignorance. Pure consciousness that pulsates in all beings is one. That I notion is I, pure I. So this pure I is untouched by all these distinctions because it is without form, without name and form. It is formless and attributeless. So it is untouched by all these distinctions. Atma is not Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Self is not Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, or Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyasi. Self is pure, self untouched by these distinctions. Or a man or a woman. Self is pure. It is the same in everyone. It is a substratum of everything. So, it is untouched by this gross body. But when this pure consciousness, due to this Maya Shakti, identifies with the body, mind, intellect equipment, and the result is the misery of samsara. See, so the jiva, though he is the pure self, he considers himself to be this gross body. He takes the matter to be consciousness. Gross body is just matter, inert, insentient matter. But this inert, insentient matter is taken as sentient being, as consciousness. And then resulting in this identification, and then of course the subsequent idea that I am this, I am so and so, I have got this form, then I am young, I am old, I am Brahman, I am Kshatriya, I am Shudra, and so on. I am a Grihastha. So all these ideas come to this self. But here the boy keeps no identification with his gross body. So when he is not identified with his gross body, all these distinctions based on the gross body doesn't belong to him. He is none of these. Therefore, he is very clear about it. Naham manushyaha, na cha deva yakshaha, na brahman kshatriya vai shudraha, na brahmachari, na gruhi vanastaha, bhikshuhuna. So none of these I am. So no identity as a person. He is just the substratum of everything. As the self, he is of infinite awareness, pure blissful awareness. That he is, has no names and forms. Beyond the gross and the subtle. So now, in the previous shloka, Adi Shankaracharya is asking the question. Who are you? Whose son are you? Where have you come from? Where are you going? All these questions. So these questions are meaningless. In the infinite self, self that is all pervasive, that means not limited by space. So the question, where have you come from and where are you going, has got no meaning. So the question of when did you come? So this question also has got no meaning because that self is beyond time, beyond the limitations of time. So therefore that also has got no meaning. How? The question how has also got no meaning because the self is beyond cause. So these questions have got absolutely no meaning at all. So sadhana for the seeker should be exclusive focus on that I. He says that Nija Bodha Rupam, Aham Nija Bodha Rupam. That is what he says, his pure self. He is Nija Bodha Rupam. I am the pure awareness, pure self. Now here, what should be the sadhana for the seekers? Sadhana for the seekers is discarding everything, all the identities, just focusing on that pure I, pure self. See? So exclusive focus on this I beyond all the identities. So that will result in the pure consciousness, the pure awareness. This is called as Nijabodha Rupam Aham. So in the very first shloka, in terms of earlier in the first 3 lines, in terms of negation, he said, what I am not. I am neither human, man, woman, or anything, nor the gods or demigods, or celestial beings, nor the varnas belong to me, nor the ashramas, none of these, with which we usually identify in this world. In the first 3 lines, he made it very clear. And in the last line, he said, who I am. Nija Bodha Rupam. That is of the nature of pure consciousness, pure awareness. That's all. So, with no attributes, no qualities, no form, formless and attributeless. So this is what the self is. I am the pure self, ever existing. Now, to clear a probable doubt, how can you call yourself the self, though visible in the body? You are visible in this body and you are calling yourself the self. So this doubt may arise. So possibly to clear this doubt, now Hastamalaka says in the 3rd shloka, Nimittam manashchakshuradi pravruttau nirasta khilopadirākāṣakalpaha ravirlokacheshta nimittam yathayaha sanityopalabdhi swarupohamatma. Nimittam manah chakshuhu adi pravruttau nirasta akhila upadi akasha kalpaha ravihi lokacheshta cheshta nimittam yathayah sa nitya upalabdha swarupah aham atma. Now, ya mana chakshu adi pravruttau nimittam. Ya means who is the cause of activities of the mind and the eyes, etc. Now, mind and the eyes, he has just mentioned these 2, mind and the eyes, but they represent, mind represents the antakaram chatushtaya, mana buddhi chitta ahankara. So the mind represents that, and chakshu, he said, mana and chakshu. Chakshu represents all the 5 sense organs, the ears, eyes, nose, tongue, and the skin, the organs of perception for the Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. Then these eyes also represent the organs of action, the limbs, arms and legs, and then the organs of speech, the tongue, and then the organs of procreation and excretion. Remains. It also represents Manachakshu, it represents the Pancha Pranas also. Prana, Apana, Vyana, Udana, Samana. So, Mana Chakshu Adi Pravruttau Nimittam. Who is the cause of activity of the mind and the eyes? All these sense organs, organs of action, Pancha Pranas, Mana Buddhi Chitta Ahankar. What is that enlivens or powers the activities of these? So, this is an important aspect here. Now, here he gives some examples also. The first is that Nirasta Akhila Upadi Akashavat. So now he's talking about himself. He is without any upadis, any conditionings, any upkarna, devoid of all these limiting upkarnas or conditionings. Nirasta Akhila Upadi Akashavat. Now, space, example of space is given here. Space is all pervading. In and through everything and being, space is there. Now, when he says that, Nirasta Akhila Upadi Akashakavat. So, space is all pervading in and through all things and beings, and yet is untouched by anything. You see, the space remains alipta, untouched, whether there is light or darkness in the space, it is not touched by that. Whether there is a fragrant smell or a foul smell, that doesn't affect it. Whether there are clouds in the space or stars or moon and sun, or their absence, it is not affected by that. So also, this infinite space of consciousness, Chidakash, that is infinite space of consciousness, that is also not affected by the upadis, by the conditionings of the mana, buddhi, chitta, ahankara, the mind and the intellect, the sense organs, the organs of action, the pancha pranas. They are the upadis. It is not conditioned by the upadis. It is not limited by or conditioned by these upkarnas or the instruments or the equipment, as the space outside is not conditioned. Moreover, Chidakasha is also the substrata of the space outside. Because in the pralaya, even that outside space also gets dissolved in Prakriti. And nothing remains, but only the substratum remains. So it is even beyond that space. So therefore he says that Nirasta Akhila Upadi Akashakavat. So now he says that who is the cause of the activities in all the instruments? These instruments are there, but I am untouched by those instruments. Like the space is untouched by whatever is there in space, it is untouched by that. It is not limited by that. Similarly, I am not touched by this, I am not limited by these upkarnas, these equipment. And then further he says that Ravi Loka Cheshta Nimittam Yathayaha. Now he gives another example of the sun. Ravi Loka Cheshta Nimittam Yathayaha. Now, this self is not touched by anything, is not affected by anything, and at the same time, it is in its presence only all the activities takes place without being affected by that. To show that, he takes the example of the sun. When the sun rises, all people get engaged in activities. Sun is not ordering them to get engaged in activities. No, sun is not telling them to do any activity. Now, if somebody is sleeping also, sun is not telling him to sleep or to be awake or to be doing anything. No, he is not involved with that. He has a udasin bhava. He is a sakshi matra. In the presence of the sunlight, things are happening. Some people may choose to sleep during the daytime after the night shift also. And many of them will be awake and engaged in activities, but it is not dictated by the sun. Though in the presence of sun it is happening. In the daylight it is happening. As the sun rises, it becomes day. Everybody engages in their activity. So it is happening there. So it is not that the sun is compelling others, people to act, but the activities go on. You see? So there is no problem. It has got udasin bhava. The sun has got udasin bhava. So all the activities that are going on in this world, the sun remains untouched by that. He remains a witness and untouched by all the activities that are going on. There may be good and bad activities that is going on. Somewhere there may be a war going on, people killing each other, but sun is not affected by that. So it doesn't affect him. Whatever actions that are taking place on this earth, so that doesn't affect the sun. Similarly, the activities of the body, mind, and intellect equipment, all the sense organs, like the actions taking place in the presence of the sun doesn't affect the sun, so also the activities that are happening in the body, mind, and intellect equipment, all the sense organs and organs of action, doesn't affect the self. Self is untouched by those activities. Whether they are good or bad activities, it doesn't make any difference to the self. Self is untouched by that, as the sun is untouched by the activities that is happening in its presence. You see, so Ravi Loka Cheshta Nimittam Yatha. Yeah. So this we have to understand. Now he has given two examples, Akashavat and Ravi Loka Cheshta Nimittam. So, and like the sun, so sun and space, two examples he has given. So he is that self, not affected by anything, not affected by any limited organs of action or perception or body, mind, intellect, equipment, nothing like that. He is not affected by that at all. And two examples he has given of the space and of the sun. So, Nija Nitya Upalabdha Swarupa Aham Atma. This is very important. Nitya Upalabdha, that which is available always, ever, past, present, future, ever available. So Nitya Upalabdha Swarupa Aham Atma. Now this is Nitya Upalabdha. So this Swarupa is available Nitya. It doesn't mean that it is available Nitya to Hastamalaka only. This Swarupa is available to all of us always, every moment. In a dark room, will anyone have, now in a dark room, it's dark. Nothing can be seen. Our own hands cannot be seen. Will anyone have doubt about his or her own existence in such a room? Of course, no doubt about that. Of course, I can't see anything, but I do exist. So there is no doubt whatsoever about our own existence in a dark room. To know I am or I exist. In a dark room, sense organs are not functioning there. We cannot see anything. We cannot see our own body. Such pitch dark is there. We cannot see it. And yet there is no doubt that I am. We don't need the help of mind or the sense organs to know I exist. I am. But this I am, the pure self, the pure awareness, that is what makes the mind and the senses know. You see, my existence is not known by the mind and the senses. That is an independent of mind and the senses. But if the mind and the senses must have capability to know, then it is enlivened by, empowered by this I am, the pure self. You see? So, I am is by nature the pure knowledge, the pure self itself. Nothing less than that. Kevala Bodha, pure awareness, and is always known by all. No one ever has the experience of his own non-existence. No one ever can deny his or her own existence no one ever has the experience of his own non-existence. So therefore, he says that Nitya Upalabdha, always available, Nitya Upalabdha. This is always available to whether a jnani or an ignorant person, ajnani. It is available to everyone at all times, everywhere. Nitya Upalabdha. So, Swarupaham Atma. So, therefore, this boy, he says that Nitya Upalabdha Swarupa Aham Atma. This sagely boy says. So, Nitya Upalabdha Swarupam Aham Atma. So, he has expanded on what he said in the second shloka, what he is not. And then he is qualifying it further. If the doubt has come, how is that possible? Then he is qualifying it further. You are seeing in a child's body and you are telling that you are not this form, you are not human, you are not man or woman and all that thing. What are you then? Then are you not affected by this? Then he is giving clarification. If such a doubt comes, that clarification is given. Going further, we move on. Now, to clear a probable doubt, what is that? Why can't we accept that organs of perception and action are capable of working on their own? Why is prompting from the Atman to be assumed? Now, Hastamlaka, if such a doubt is there, he clarifies in the fourth shloka. Nitya bodha swarupam manashchakshuradinya pravartante ashritya nishkampamekam sanityopalabdhi swarupohamatma bodha swarupam manah chakshuhu adini abodhatmakani pravartante ashritya nishkampam ekam sanityoupalabdhi sarupah aham atma. Now, yam ashritya abodha atmakani. Now, mana chakshu adi, they are abodha atmakani, means they do not, they are inert, insentient, jada, non-living. Mana chakshu adini abodha atmakani. So they are insentient. So how do they function? By support of what? Pravartante ashritya. So mana chakshu jam ashritya abodhatmakani pravartante. So these which are neutral, what you call inert, insentient, and jada, how do they function? So now here, Hastamlaka gives the example of this fire and the iron ball. So in this fire and the iron ball, we have seen this example so many times, but from a different angle, we'll see this. So the question is that if mind, sense organs and everything, they are inert, insentient, non-living, but they appear to be active, by whose power they are active? So now the example is of that fire and the iron ball. We have seen this so many times. Iron ball is black in color, has got a particular shape, and it has got weight, and it is cold to touch. Fire has got no shape, no form, no shape it has got no weight. It has just a form, it appears like that, but it has got heat and light, but no shape and no weight. Now when it is combination together, yam agni ushnavat nitya bodha rupa swarupa. Now fire's natural Swarupa is heat and light. That is natural Swarupa. Heat is heat of the fire. So similarly, as an iron ball heated in fire looks exactly like fire, but it is not fire. Remember that. When iron ball is heated up in fire, it becomes red hot, and further more it is heated up, then it becomes lighter and lighter color, so like the fire color. So when it is heated up, it looks exactly like fire. From the far off it is seen, nobody knows that there is an iron ball, there is a fire there. So it looks exactly like fire. Similarly, mind and the senses seem to be active, enlivened, conscious in the presence of consciousness, pure awareness, in the presence of the self. They appear like the iron ball appears like fire when it is heated up, it appears like fire. Immediately one can't make a difference. So it appears like fire. Similarly, these inert ancient instruments, they appear conscious, enlivened, in the presence of consciousness, in the presence of the pure self. You see? And this nikampam ekam, whereas the fire is very subtle and iron is very gross. So now the important part is that nikampam ekam, this is what we have to understand. This is very important part of it. Now nishkampam ekam, motionless, one without a second. Nishkampam ekam. Now this iron ball or any iron piece that is put in the fire and it is heated up, and then it can be beaten into any shape while it is still hot. It is in the fire, it is still hot, and it is beaten into any shape the blacksmith wants. Can be beaten into any shape. But this beating on this iron, does it affect the fire? Does it affect the heat, the light of the fire, or fire itself? No. In no way it gets affected. The fire in no way gets affected by this beating and getting that iron piece into shape. It doesn't get affected. So also, in the beating of this red hot iron may suffer, but the fire doesn't suffer. Similarly, in the presence of consciousness, the mind, intellect, sense organs, organs of action, they all become active. They become active, they involve in action, and there are modifications in them. And because of modifications, there may be some gain, some loss, some sorrow, some joy, and all these things are happening there. But the consciousness that empowers, enlivens, or in the presence of consciousness when they become active, that consciousness is not affected by the modifications of these things, by their activities. As the beating into shape of that iron piece doesn't affect the fire, similarly, the modifications that is going on in the mind, sometimes there is a sorrowful feeling, emotional disturbance is there, but that will not affect the self. So these instruments get affected, they get modified and all that thing, but self is not affected by that, as a fire is not affected by that. So this we have to understand very clearly. This is the subtlest of everything. Fire is of course subtler than this iron, no doubt, and fire is not affected, though both belong to the same category, both are insentient, fire as well as iron. But this example is taken by HASTAMALAK to explain how I, the pure self, is not affected by the modifications that goes on in the instruments they are powered by the consciousness, they are enlivened by the consciousness, in the presence of consciousness rather, not by the, rather we should say in the presence. Sun doesn't provoke anything. In the presence of sun, activities are happening. Sun is not telling anybody to do any activity or be silent or don't do anything. No, in the presence, things are happening. In the presence of consciousness, this instrument comes alive. And then they go, they do all the activities and then enjoy, suffer the results of those activities. But then the self is not affected. That is an important aspect. So, so this is what it is. I am of the nature of that ever-existing Atman. So, Sanitya Uplabdha Swarupam Aham Atma. So that perfect being I am, and in that Paramartha, in that reality, there is no relative existence at all. This is the pure self. Satchidananda, existence, knowledge, bliss. Now, a possible doubt may arise. What is that? If the same Atma, the self, is present in all, then why is one happy and the other not? Now, if such a doubt is there, HASTAMALAK clarifies in the next shloka, shloka 5. Mukhabhasako darpane drishyamanaha mukhatvat pruthakvena naivasti vastu chidabhasako dhishu jivo pitadvat sanityopalabdhi swarupo hamatma. मुख आभासकः दर्पणे दृश्यमानः मुखत्वात् पृथक्त्वेन न एव अस्ति वस्तु चिदाभासकः चिद आभासक धीषु जीव अपि तद्वत् स नित्य उपलब्धि स्वरूपः अहम् आत्मा. So now here he comes with another example. This is also a beautiful example. Mukha abhasakah darpane drishyamana. The quality of the reflection will vary according to the quality of the reflecting medium, either the mirror or the reflective medium. So quality of the face. A mirror is there when you're looking into the mirror. The quality of that reflection depends upon the quality of the mirror. But if the quality of the mirror is not good, then of course the reflection will not be good. Different types of mirrors are there, concave mirror, convex mirror, and things like that. In some places, in some fair, they have this different types of mirrors in that. And then when you enter, in some mirror, will appear tall or thin or fat or short and so on. So it is some fun like that. So different types of mirror. But does it affect our image, our ear, our face? No. The reflection is seen like that in the mirror, but it doesn't affect our face at all. So different qualities of mirrors are there. Then again, this reflection again we have to see in different ways. Now sun is reflected in different bodies of water. It is reflected in the pure water, Ganges water, gutter water, muddy water, disturbed water, calm water. In different bodies of water, different qualities of water, dirty, clean, disturbed, lot of movement, or very calm, no ripples also. And the image will be different in all this. But the sun that is reflected is only one. As we enter the hall of different mirrors and we see our face in that, In different types of mirror, the face will appear different. But of course, the face is the same. One face is that is reflected differently depending upon the quality of mirrors. Similarly, the sun is also reflected in different bodies of water: calm water, disturbed water, dirty water, muddy water, and so on. The image will be different, the reflection will be different. So, दर्पणे दृश्यमानः मुख आभासकः न एव वस्तु अस्ति पृथक्त्वेन मुखत्वात्. Now, the first thing that we have to understand is that this self is one. Now, as the face is one, the reflections are many. If there are multiple reflections, multiple mirrors are there, there will be multiple reflections. One mirror is there, only one reflection is there. But that reflection has got no real existence without the presence of the face. Face can continue to exist without the mirror or its reflection. In the absence of the mirror and the reflection, the face will continue to exist. In the presence of the mirror, the face is reflected. But in the absence of the mirror, the face doesn't disappear. The face is that is the reality. The reflection is not the reality. The first thing we have to understand that is the face is the reality. The reflection is not the reality. So, and it has got no separate existence. The reflection has got no separate existence apart from the face. This is an important factor. Now, all the reflections that form, it has got no separate existence than the real. So, Pratibimba is there. Without Bimba, there cannot be any Pratibimba. It has got, Pratibimba has got no independent existence apart from the Bimba, the original self. So, Tadvat Jiva api dhishu chit abhasaka. Now, if you take this example, if you have understood this very well, and the doubt is that if the same Atman is present in all, then why is one happy and the other not? This explanation comes here now. As the reflections have been seen in different quality of medium of reflection, the reflection appears differently. Similarly, now, this mind-intellect equipment, the quality of mind-intellect equipment in all beings will not be the same. So therefore, though the same self is reflecting in all mind-intellect equipment of billions of people, some people are happy, some people are peaceful, some people are disturbed, some people are angry, some people are greedy. The modifications of the mind that goes on and modification of the intellect that goes on. So the reflection is same, the bimba is same, self is the same. Depending upon the quality of the mind and the intellect, the reflection will appear like that. So therefore, though the same self is pervading through each and every form, each and enlivening each and every mind intellect equipment, and yet why everybody is not the same? That depends upon the quality of individual mind intellect equipment. Whether that individual mind intellect equipment is at peace or disturbed or miserable or sorrowful or whatever it is. So this has to be very clear. This Atma reflected in this thought, this buddhi, they all, depending upon the quality of buddhi, they all keep on changing, but it doesn't affect the Atma. The presence or absence of the thoughts in the intellect doesn't affect the self. So also, Chidabhasakaha dhishu jiva api tadvat. So also the same self appears different according to the moods of the mind intellect equipment. Some people are sukhi, some people are dukhi, etc. But the self is not affected by that. See? So, in the self, why self is not affected? Because In the self, there is no duality. Duality is mithya as regards the self is concerned. Self is ekameva advitiya. So therefore, in ignorance only, if you look at it, we suffer because of our own ignorance and nothing else. Ignorance is the root cause of all our problems, whether in the worldly life or in the spiritual path. Ignorance is the root cause of all our problems. We suffer in our worldly life also because of our own ignorance. We suffer. Now, in the modern times, the crime is different. When earlier the thieves used to go to steal, they'll enter people's houses and then steal things from there. Modern time things are different. So one fellow, who went for his robbery mission, kill something, and then late night he comes with his bag full of stolen things, and when he enters his house, he sees his son sitting with his laptop and earning thousands of dollars through cyber fraud. And then he tells his son, this is a very good way. If I am caught there, I'll get beaten. You are nice, you are sitting nicely in cool AC and then earning thousands of dollars by deceiving other people. The cyber crime is going on these days. Now, why people fall prey to cyber crime? Because of ignorance. They fall, they get victim of this fraud because of ignorance. So we suffer because of ignorance and nothing else. So therefore, the instruments and all these things that we are not. Hastamalaka is, of course, a realized master. So he knows very well what he is talking. So these are the things which is an important aspect. Now, having said that, now a doubt arises. If Atma is devoid of senses and thoughts, then why not accept nothingness? Shunyavada. So now this Shunyavada is refuted by Hastamalaka in the next shloka. What is that? Shlok 6. Yatha darpana bhava abhasahana mukham vidyate kalpanahi namekam tatha dhi viyogo nirabhasako yaha sanityoupalabdhi swarupo hamatma yatha darpana bhava abhasahanam mukham vidyate kalpanahinam ekam tatha dhi viyogo nirabhasakah yah sa nitya upalabdhi swarupa aham atma. Now, the first thing is that yatha darpana abhava abhasa hani ekam kalpana hanim mukham vidyate. Now, when we face a mirror, there are three entities. The mirror is there, the face is there, and the reflection is there. Three entities are there. So now when the mirror is removed, so what remains is only the face. The reflecting medium is not there, reflection is also not there, but the face remains as it is. Yatha darpane abhava abhasahani. So when the mirror is removed, then there is a loss of reflection. There is no reflection is there. Mukham vidyate kalpana hinam ekam. So tatha dhi viyogo nirabhasakah yah. So similarly, now as an intelligent person who stands before the mirror, he never misapprehends the reflection to be real. He knows very well. He's standing in front of the mirror. Reflection is not real. My face is real. That which is reflected, the reflection is not real. If anything happens to that reflection, is not happening to me. I am different from the reflection. So also, a realized person, a jnani, will never misapprehend jiva as his real nature. As an intelligent person doesn't take the reflection to be real, so also the one who has realized the self never takes jiva to be the self, to be his real nature. But now what is happening is that, but due to maya, this Ajnani considers himself to be this gross body, this reflection of the self in the intellect, where the Jiva Bhava is born. So he takes this Jiva Bhava as his real self. An intelligent man will not take the reflection in the face as real. Similarly, a Jnani will not take this Jiva Bhava, the reflected consciousness, as real. But an Ajnani will take this reflected consciousness as real. So, which is actually illusory. This illusory Jiva is taken as real. And of course, when you take something which you are not as real, then of course we will suffer the miseries of samsara, miseries of the gross and the subtle body. Then those becomes real for us and they are taken as mine. What happens? So only a mad person or a fool will look at the mirror and his image is reflected. But there are some spots on the mirror surface of the mirror. There is some stain, some spot, some scratch is there. And when he looks at his reflection there, it appears on his face. Only a fool will take it as his face has got scratch and spots and all that thing. It is in the mirror. The mirror has got the scratch, mirror has got the spots and all those things, and which also reflected face also, it appears as if that scratch or that spots are on the face. Only a fool will take that his own, to be his own. Similarly, that which is part of the modification of the mind. So identifies, so the jiva identifies with this modification of the mind, and the mind's modifications are very clear. Kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya. So the moods changes of the mind. So mind is angry, I am angry. The mind is greedy, I am greedy. The mind is jealous, I am jealous. So I take it as mine. As a fool takes the modifications that is on the surface, reflecting surface of the mirror, as if it is on his own face. Similarly, the modification of the mind, I like a fool take it as mine. See? So they are considered as this. Thus, this Nitya Shuddha thinks himself to be Ashuddha Jiva. Very pathetic. Very, very pathetic. You have to understand that. So now, further, the remaining shlokas we will take in our next session. We will conclude it here. If anybody has got any questions?
Swamiji, Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Wonderful, Swamiji. Now it seems that Hastamalak Stotram is going to be another milestone in our life, Swamiji. and it has taken like, it's like a microscope, Swamiji. It's taking the self, putting the self to say so on a microscope, Swamiji. And like a neurosurgeon, you are dissecting the, like a brain, doing the surgery of the brain. And a brain surgeon is very, very careful, very, very cautious about operating the brain. This is how this has unfolded the entire self. And whatever the small little here and there cobwebs have remained during the previous books is now trying to clear all those cobwebs, Swamiji. It may not be a surprise at the end of this book, somebody might become a Hastamalak.
It's about time.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Sooner than later. So shall we conclude the session then?
Swamiji, from where do you bring such what you call precious gems to us?
It is all there. That is the greatness of Sanatan Dharma. There are no shortage of text, you see. So we have to keep studying until we realize. That's it. It is not like other religion. They have got one measly book they have got. Once you do that, then nothing else. Here, variety is there, you see. The truth is same. One truth is there. But in different ways, we are understanding it. In different texts. That is the greatness of Sanatan Dharma. The entire lifetime, we may end up studying the scriptures, but the scriptures will not end. There are so many of them.
Swamiji, great. In such a short text, but it says so much, Swamiji. So much, my goodness.
It's a very deep text. Very subtle, very deep. Now that we have been doing so many texts, we have done Advaita Makaranda, we did Ram Gita also. So we have to go subtler and subtler, you see.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Like okay, then we'll conclude now.
Yes, sir.
Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah Harihi Om.